Hey, here's how to do the poetry annotated bibliography, step 2. First of all, you need to choose one of the articles from step 1, right? Choose one of the articles. You're supposed to do all 3, but then we cut it down to one article. Now, if you wanted to do all 3, I would definitely give that higher consideration when I'm making point deductions for grammar and that sort of thing. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, let's see what we need to have. You need your citation information. That's those things that I told you whenever you were pulling the articles. I said, click that yellow piece of paper, grab that citation information, and copy paste it somewhere. Put it in a Word document, send it to yourself in an email, whatever it is. So you've got this information somewhere. And this, make this a little bigger. This is what that citation information looks like. You've got it somewhere. Okay. So what else do you need in your annotated bibliography? You need to talk about the author's qualifications or credibility. Now, how do you find that information, right? Sometimes you can do an internet search of that author's name, especially if they don't have a very common name. And you can get some information about the author. You don't have to do any citations. I don't want you to do any quoting. You just need to summarize that information that you find online in your own words. Now, if they graduated from the University of Waterloo, then saying University of Waterloo in there is not going to be plagiarizing because there's only one way to say that. But you shouldn't be lifting entire lines from the internet about this author, okay? Not entire sentences. Write your own sentences. Now, some of your articles may have give you some clues about the person who wrote the article. They might have PhD after their name, for example, or they may have doctor in front of their name. So that would give you some clues about that author's credibility. Then sometimes you look at the writer's own bibliography or works cited at the end of their article. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Now, of course, you have to read some of your article. You don't have to read the whole entire, because, for example, Kayla has an article that we're about to look at. Her article was over 30 pages long. Now, if she reads that whole article, she is going to elevate herself as a scholar. So while I'm saying that you don't have to read the whole entire article, you might want to consider reading your entire article just to help elevate yourself as a college student and as a scholar and an educated person. Okay, so, but basically you're just going to hit the high points and say, the author says this, the author writes about that, the author makes a claim that, and you'll fill in those blanks about what the author said or studied or claimed in his or her article. Now, when you get to this part, this is up to you. Do you think the author did a good job of writing the article? Was he easy to understand? Was it too difficult to read? Do you think he was fair in what he observed or what he said in his article? Was he qualified enough? Did you think that that some of the things he said were wrong for some reason or another? Were there things he should have talked about that he didn't talk about? Now, these things can happen 2, 3, and 4. They don't necessarily have to happen in these articles. They can, but they don't have to. It depends on what your rhythm and flow is. So let's look at this annotated bibliography that you'll remember I found online. This annotated bibliography is on this particular article. So let's see. Ken Battle draws on a close study of government documents as well as his own research as an extensively published policy analyst. So Ken Battle is a policy analyst. There's his credibility right there. He draws on several government documents and research to explain this idea about Canadian child benefit programs. So Ken Battle is qualified to write about this topic. Now, what does Ken Battle talk about in his article? He outlines fundamental assumptions supporting the belief that all society members should contribute to the upbringing of children. And then he compares some poverty rates. He looks at the national child benefit. He outlines all this writer of the annotated bibliography is doing is saying, this is what Ken Battle says in his article. Now, he gets down to the evaluation of Ken Battle's article. He says, but Ken Battle relies too much on his own work. So Ken Battle, the author of this article here, or this article, his own work cited has his own name in it. He's citing his own sources, which it's fine up to a certain point. But if almost all of your sources are your own writings, that kind of weakens your argument. You can't just cite yourself. You need to draw from others' perspectives. Okay? And you can read the rest of it. So if you can use this as a model, then you'll be doing a good job with your own annotated bibliography. So let's see what we need here. Now we're going to look at one of Kayla's articles that she picked. Her citation information, remember that you're going to pull that from where you copy pasted that information from your database because it generated that for you. Author's qualifications or credibility. So we've got to look and see, how is this author qualified to write about this information? Okay, so we've got Richard Flynn, and we're going to see Richard Flynn looks, so here's a little biography of, this is a little introduction to Richard Flynn's article. Somebody wrote this, right? This isn't Richard Flynn's writing about himself. This is somebody else writing about him. So Richard Flynn looks at how Brooks' early and later poetry and prose shows how children navigate the rocky terrain of poverty and racial oppression. Okay. So we got all this. Oh, that's all good, but that doesn't really explain to us whether or not Richard Flynn is qualified or not. Look at all of this. Look at all, you can see all the citations here. This is not Richard Flynn talking. Richard Flynn is quoting other people. So he's saying, this is not just my point of view. This is what other people have to say that are also qualified. So I'm going to scroll way down. Way down. All the way, look how far down we're going. Okay, it's a big article that she got. Look at all of the works that Richard Flynn cited in his article. He read many things to write this 30-page article. So that's one way we can know that we can trust this article. He pulled from lots of credible sources himself. Plus, this article was published in a database, the Short Story and Poetry Reference Center. It was pulled from a journal called Critical Insights. So we can feel confident that Richard Flynn knows what he's talking about and he's qualified to write this article. And then Kayla needs to go in and explain to me what Richard Flynn said in this article. And by the time she reads or even skips around and reads the parts that she's interested in, and I've done that myself plenty of times, okay, she's going to have an even better idea of how to write about poetry. So she's got to write her summary of what was said in the article, and then it's up to her to tell me what Kayla thought. Was the article a well-written article? Was the author fair? Did he examine all sides of the issues? And did he overlook anything? Okay? So that's how you do an annotated bibliography. Now, if you've made it to this point, I want to remind you that if you do not wear a mask in class on Monday, you will be told to leave the room. You will not be allowed, I'm not gonna talk to you about it. You're gonna be told to leave, and you have to wear your mask properly the entire class period. All right. I will see y'all on Monday.